Welcome to the Coachzing Show, helping you work less, earn more, and reach more people through creative content marketing. Join the Coach Zingers community, where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come together to discover the latest trends, forge powerful joint ventures, and grow their business together. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello, welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is Doug Foresta, your host. This is the show where we help you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. And if you'd like to get a transcript of this show, I encourage you to join our Coach Zingers community. Not only will you get the transcript, but you'll also be part of a great community of people that are networking and forming powerful partnerships. And the way to do that is to go ahead and visit coachzing.com/community. My guest today is Jeanna Gabellini, and we're going to be talking about webinars and coaching on webinars. So for those of you that are coaches and those of you that are not coaches, I know you'll get a lot out of this episode. So welcome back, and I'll just say a little bit about Jeanna and bring her right on. Jeanna Gabellini is a master business coach who assists high-achieving entrepreneurs and their teams to double and even triple their profits by leveraging intention, systems, and fun. She's also the co-author of Life Lessons for Mastering the Law of Attraction, which she wrote with Eva Gregory, Mark Victor Hansen, and Jack Canfield. Her new book, 10-Minute Money Makers, How to Easily Double Your Profits in Just 10 Minutes a Day, is available at masterpiececoaching.com/moneymakers. Combining vision, divine guidance, and proven strategies, Jeanna delivers top-tier private coaching and sold-out seminars that have allowed committed entrepreneurs to blow past their self-imposed limits, ditch the drama of overwhelm, and move into radical joy, inner peace, and ever-increasing profits. You can also visit her website, masterpiececoaching.com. But we're also going to have she also has a free offer for you, which we'll share in a little bit. Jeanna Gabellini, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So, my first question for you, I know we talked, just for a moment before we come on, and my first question for you is, you've built a very successful coaching practice and business. Obviously, you've worked with some amazing people, and we actually had Eva on the show not too long ago. And one of my questions for you is, what's your favorite content marketing strategy? How do you like to get the word out and connect with, potential clients?
I love webinars. I like webinars because I can deliver content. I can walk people through stuff. And at the end, I always open it up for questions because to me, obviously, I'm a coach. I like to coach. I actually like to be in the action. So engaging with the people at the end, I feel like it brings me great joy and obviously gives me time to strut my stuff and show them like, yeah, look at what you can get more of this if you come play with me. So love coaching on webinars.
Thank you so much. For what do you see as some of the biggest mistakes that that coaches make if they start trying to get out there and doing webinars?
Well, probably doing all the stuff that I used to do that didn't work. Like trying to cram way too much in to the webinar and not going, it's better to definitely, I think, cover ground, whatever ground you cover, do it really well rather than try to cram, 20 million things into the seminar. And make sure there's flow to it. So you're actually taking people, like pretending that they've already bought something from you and that they're paying for a course. What would you give them in that first class? So that it has, rather than just cramming all these random different points in there, take them from point A to point B as if they're your babies now and you're going to show them how to specifically do one thing and do it well.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that, I've certainly made that mistake as well. And it's like, more is better, right? if I give them 20 things, then that will be better than if I give them 2 things.
I also think I think that I get so into it and I'm like, well, if I tell them this part, then I have to explain this too.
Yeah.
And then, then they're going to need to know this. It's like, sister, you can't teach them all that. It ain't going to work. And then not really what I used to do all the time was I would pack so much stuff in that it wouldn't leave enough time to do my offer well. And then I was also nervous about the offer, like the part where you sell something.
Sure.
And so I would rush through it and I wouldn't give it the attention because I thought, they're going to like, I don't want to disturb them, and we got to rush through this offer, and then we'll get back into the content. And I'm like, wait a minute, the whole point of being here is to give good value and to offer the next step, and to realize that there is also value in the offer, because as you're explaining what they're going to get out of the course, you're going to be touching on teaching points anyway. So now I've learned to really slow down and give the offer the attention that it really requires. And it feels so much more relaxed than trying to rush through something.
And I would think these days, I mean, people are used to and they expect that there's going to be some type of offer. Like I don't get on and in fact, I often, if it's something I'm interested in, I want to know what the offer is. I mean, I want to know how I can learn more. It's not like some inconvenience.
Right. Exactly. Plus, I like listening to webinars to see what other people are doing and see how they do the offer, because that in itself is learning.
Yeah, right. That's very true. That's a very good point. Have you over time, you said you've slowed down, right? That you've do you start your offer earlier on in the webinar, or?
I usually do it about 3/4 of the way through, and then leave some juicy thing for the end, and then I'll do Q&A. So I'll usually say that the webinar is 75 minutes. And then I always stay longer. If they want to do Q&A for an hour afterwards, I will. Like I had a big lunch earlier this year. I was on the phone doing Q&A for 2 hours after the webinar. I was happy to do it. People, fell in love. They signed up for the program. And I feel like even the ones who didn't sign up for my program, now I've got raving fans for a long time to come. And they see me in action. And they go, okay, this girl over delivers. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. But the over delivering then becomes it's sort of after the main part of the webinar is over. So then it's different than if you just did like a 3-hour webinar, right?
Right, exactly. So they're free to go if they don't want to listen to the Q&A. And what's amazing is if they know the Q&A is coming up, how many people actually stay the entire time?
Wow,
blows me away.
Yeah.
So I think that's another tip is, just because you might not do something as the participant, don't assume your people won't, because I would never stay. I can't imagine staying for 3 hours on a webinar. But there are people who like that. And just because you don't like something or it's not right for you doesn't mean that your ideal clients will react the same way. So, because you're not selling to yourself, you're selling to your ideal people. So I think that's a good thing to remember, because before I used to not do things or say things if it wasn't something that I would respond to.
Right.
And obviously not everybody's like me.
Right. Yeah. So everyone has different preferences. So I'm curious, for someone who's really just getting started and they say, okay, this seems like a great idea. Do you have any tips or suggestions for, how can you bring people to sign up and register for your webinar to get those people, onto your webinar in the first place?
I think writing, obviously, if you have an email list or any clients, customers, friends, anybody that you've got, engage them, not with a long email, with a short email that pretty much just gives the essence of whatever issue you want to solve for them, and telling them like, hey, here's a great next step, and it's complimentary. Come on over to here. And then you send them to an opt-in page where they're going to give you their name and email, and brief is better. I've been talking about this the last 2 weeks with one of my people in my program. I've been creating all these opt-in pages, and it's all this long copy. And if you're not someone who is used to writing copy to get people to say yes to something, shorter is better. Really, honestly, shorter is better. Speaking from the heart, getting straight to the point, and letting them know exactly what they're going to get when they come to this, fabulous information-packed webinar that you've got.
I love that.
Follow-up is good too, because not only do you want them to sign up, but you want them to show up. So don't forget to send out your reminders, letting them know like, hey, it's tomorrow, and here's the information to, get on. Here's the phone number. Here's the website link. And then the next morning too, or 1 hour before. I even did, now I don't suggest you do this all the time, but when I was in the middle of a big launch, I even had I set up a little thing where if you were in the United States, and I think it worked in Canada too, you can get a text message. People could say, yes, send me a text message to remind them to come on the call. Just, hey, it's in 15 minutes. Don't forget to jump on the call.
I've appreciated those. I've signed up for webinars with that as well. And I have to tell you, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm flipping through Facebook and I see a webinar and I go, oh my God, that's exactly what I need. But it's, it's Thursday night. I see it at Thursday night at like midnight. And the webinar is next Wednesday, 12 p.m. And I go, I'm going to be able to make it. And then, the weekend goes by and then, I have to do laundry and who knows what happens. And then, the bottom line is I'll completely forget about it, if I don't get a reminder, even though it's something I really want to attend.
Exactly. Same here. So, and I think that a lot of, and I used to feel the same way. Eva, you said that you had interviewed Eva
Gregory, yes.
And we have a side business together where we teach a lot. And she was always, we gotta send more emails to people. And I cringed. I'm like, no, we're going to bother people. And she would just, she had to hound me. And finally I gave in and I realized, wow, when we email people more, we actually don't piss them off. We actually engage them and we get more people digging on what we're doing and appreciative of even the free content that we're giving. So don't be afraid like I was. I waited so long. I mean, seriously, for years, she said, we got to send more emails out to our people. Yeah. And the truth is if they're your ideal people, they're not bothered. They're appreciative and people are intuitive. I know I had this gal sign up for my mastermind program, which is a no joke program, right? It's a lot of money. And she had been on my list. She said she had never signed up for anything, never read my e-zine. And that email about my mastermind, like intuitively she opened it. She was like, I need that. And she signed up. I never had a conversation with her.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I've heard that from so many people. They say, oh yeah, Jeanna, I've seen your emails for years. I don't always click on everything, but I just happened to click on this thing and it was perfect for me. Thank you. People know, I mean, I don't open everything that comes to me, even from people I love, but when it speaks to me and I like that subject line, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy that right now. So don't be afraid of sending stuff.
I thank you for that. I think that's a really good point because, I mean, I know that so many, especially people that are, heart-centered people who they feel like they don't want to bother people. And I've certainly had that thought myself, I don't want to bother people. But, right, if we have something that's going to help someone, they want to know about it. It's not, and if they can't read the email, they won't read the email at that moment. It's not like you're knocking on their door.
They can simply delete if they don't want to read.
I'm going to ask you one of my favorite questions that I love to ask guests, which is, what's one of the funniest, craziest, most creative pieces of content you've ever shared? It could be a webinar, it could be not be a webinar, and what the result was of that.
Okay, it may not be crazy to anybody else, but it was crazy to me.
Yep.
I sell this daily journal, and it's called Speed Dial the Universe, and people love it. I mean, it was just one of those divinely guided, downloaded things that came into my head. I said, I got to create this. I was more creating it for myself, so I would have something to use every day to just get clear on my intentions for the day, do visioning, and it's cool, and people love it. However, my marketing guy, during, I was planning for my big launch last year, and he said, Jeanna, you're always talking about how people love that thing. You should do a webinar and teach people how to use the journal. I said, that's stupid. That is going to be that would be the shortest, webinar ever. And it's just too basic. And he's like, no, I really think you should do it. And I said, I don't think so. And then I kept trying to come up with a different webinar topic and finally just said, all right, I'll do it. And he said, you'll be really surprised at how long it takes you to go through the material to cover how to do the Speed Dial the Universe. And I said, but we're going to give away the journal for free during this webinar, so that'll be a great bonus. I said, but they're going to have all the instructions right in front of the journal. Why would I go through them on a webinar? He's like, just try it. People went freaking nuts. I sold more on that webinar. Seriously, it all led. I did 2 webinars during the launch. That was one of them. And I had over six figures in sales. And I thought, all right, maybe he's onto something. So I did it again this year. Again, people freaked out. They loved it. And I thought, this is the easiest webinar I have ever done because I know that material by heart. And it was so simple. And yet they got such value out of it that, again, the people that didn't sign up and buy my program are still emailing me. This was months ago about how much value they got from it. So sometimes the simplest piece of content ends up being your most profitable. And don't be afraid to share something that you think everybody already knows or it's so simple, people aren't going to get value. I was blown away because I told him there was no way. I told my marketing, no way are we doing that in a webinar. That is lame.
Well, it's simple. It's simple to us, right?
Right.
It's simple to us, but then it's not necessarily simple to like you said, your market loved it. So I think there's also a great message there about, it's not just because it's something that would be so easy for us, or we think, oh, everyone would know that. Clearly your tribe they were like, no, we want this webinar.
Here's the other thing. I was very resistant to giving away the journal for free during that webinar as a bonus, because I thought this is my biggest selling product. And even though it wasn't that, it's $30, right?
Yeah.
But I was like coming from the scarcity place. I don't want to give it away. Look at all the missed sales on that. And well, what about all the people that are already bought it at full price? They're going to be mad at me. I just had all these reasons why it was not a good idea.
Yeah. And yet it was, right?
And yet it is, and people are still buying it. Ever since I talked about it on the webinar, I get sales every single day without ever really promoting it. So never underestimate the material that you've already created and the impact it can make for people, and giving away stuff. And now that taught me a great lesson. Now I give away stuff all the time, and I'm much more generous, because I thought, wow, it actually, instead of taking away from sales, which was the immediate reaction, is it actually gets you more sales when you give away free stuff.
It's that abundance mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I'm thinking about, for listeners, I'm wondering if, when you do webinars, do you do talking head webinars? In other words, where people can see you, or do you do it audio with slides, or does it matter? I'm just thinking for listeners about, I have a feeling I'll get some emails from listeners saying, you didn't elaborate on webinars. So I thought I'd ask you that question.
I feel like you have to do, all the experts are going to tell you different things.
Yeah.
And it's what I always tell everybody, you have to do what feels most natural for you. Because if you are stressed during the webinar, you're not going to be at your best, and it's not going to be attractive, and you'll get less sales. Just your energy will be off. So the way that I personally do mine is, because I like to read off a script when I do mine, even though people can't believe when I tell them I do that. They're like, you read? You don't sound like it at all. Mm-hmm. I said, if I don't mostly read, I will go so off topic, because I like to chat. And it will go overtime, so I have to write down like my key points and stick to the basics. So I do slideshows so that people can get the key points. I like to make them fun and energetic, so I don't do the usual, like, here's your 10 bullet points for this point. I just give like a crazy, fun, energetic photo and just write one caption on it, and that's it. And I especially like showing slides, because during the offer, everybody visually can see the key points in front of them. Because I know for me, when I'm listening to webinars, unfortunately, I'm usually doing something else. I'm not just sitting here listening to the webinar. I'm, writing checks or paying bills, or, trying to get something done while I'm listening. When they come to the offer, people start going so fast. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What was included in that? When does it start?
Yeah.
How much is it? Oh, they have a payment. What's the website? That's the one I always forget. Like, oh, what was the URL they told me to check out the sales page? So if it's right there in your webinar, you're capturing, you're capturing all the important things that they need so that they can go over to your sales page and check it out.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. So I also know that you said that you have a speaking of pages, I know that you have a free offer for our listeners today, right?
Yeah.
And
if they want to go to profittemplate.com, you can go download. I created this one-page plan that I love it, because it's just easy. If it's one page, it means you're probably going to use it.
Yeah.
It's easy to create, and it's a plan for doubling your profits.
Wow.
So specifically, and it hits you from both sides. What's the strategy, and what's the inner game that you need to embrace in order to carry out the strategy? So you'll love it. It's both inner and outer, and I give the instructions on how to fill it out, and you'll have a great time with it. And the most important part is, once you create it, use it. Don't go file it in a drawer somewhere. Put it out so that it's your guiding light every single day, and you'll know how to keep on target and not go off into all the different crazy strategies you learn and try to implement 20,000 things that get you no results.
Amen. Well said. The bright, shiny object syndrome, right?
Yes.
So you've worked with so many great people and collaborated with so many great people. I'm really excited to hear from you, other than your own work, or it could be collaborative work, but what books, blogs, podcasts, however you like to take in content, motivates and inspires you?
Oh, well, there's so many, right? The one thing that just popped in my head, it's not even really business related, but you can use it for business, because I'm all about inner game. I know the strategies to do, but if I'm feeling wimpy and I'm not going for it, I'm not going to implement the strategy. So I love The Aladdin Factor by Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, because it's all about asking for what you want. Mm-hmm. And, like they say, ask, because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Right. And one of the scariest things for me in my business was 2 years ago, and I call it my first big girl launch. I knew I needed help for people to promote me, and I was so scared to ask. And it just really helped me. It was just like, nope, until you ask, Jeanna, the answer is going to be no. So go ask these people. Just get in the practice of asking. Plus, that's exactly what I had to do when I first started my coaching practice. You got to ask for the business, or ask to give away, your stuff, or, hey, would you like more information on this? And if you don't ask, you're never going to get people to take the next step. So I love that book, The Aladdin Factor.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the one I've heard is, if you don't ask, you have a very expensive hobby.
I haven't heard that one, but it's so true.
Jeanna Gabellini, thank you so much for joining me. Your love of life and fun and desire to help people really comes through. So I encourage people to check out profittemplate.com, as well as your main website, masterpiececoaching.com. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll have to do it again.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you. Take care. And
Bye.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for joining me. We'll be back next week with more great guests, helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. And again, if you want a transcript of the episode, just go ahead and visit coachzing.com/community, become a Coach Zinger, and you can learn all about what that is over there. Take care, everyone. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at The Coachzing Show.
Thank you for listening to The Coachzing Show. Subscribe to us via iTunes, and please leave us a review. It helps us grow our awesome tribe. This show is brought to you by Coachzing.com's Speak to Publish book system. If your book is stuck in your head, we can help you get it out in just a dozen hours of your time. Go to Coachzing.com for more information. Have you joined the Coach Zingers community yet? You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to Coachzing.com/community to join now.